Welcome to Call with Dads. Let's talk.
How about this? How about we jump on the fact of today we're discussing getting the crap out. Basically, I sent you guys this video of what I basically did to teach my son and daughter why I do the things I do and try to make sure they don't watch certain stuff. They don't get certain things in their heads, why I don't let them eat chemicals like candies. And now, mind you, every now and then a candy isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, I hate to say you can't get away from dealing with having something occasionally. It's better or worse. It is what it is.
Plus a little bowl of ice cream it's a good time.
See, I make my own ice cream, so
yeah.
So I cut the chemicals out there.
Yeah. I live walking distance to a little local ice cream shop, so me and my daughter kind of, walk down over to it and go sit out on the patio and stuff, have a little scoop now and again.
Right. Well, we went to the carnival. We had a carnival last weekend in this area, or this past weekend, and we ate just junk food. I mean, they were out of elephant ears, but they had those funnel cakes with all the powdered sugar and
same.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But my whole family, we sat down on the grass and ate because there's no place to sit in this little carnival. But the whole thing is for the most part, and this was kind of my point of the video that I sent you guys, and I'm working on editing to make it look nicer and make it so we can post it up on our account. But generally the thought behind it is in the video I pour a cup of coffee into a clear cup. It was a plastic cup, chemicals, that that you basically was showing that the clear water that was in there was diluted by the coffee. And to get rid of that, because once you see that, your first thought is, well, you have to throw it out. But as a father, and I saw this on another video talking about it from a religious aspect, but it made sense to me in a father's aspect as well, because once you turn that tap of water on with clean information, basically good stuff, get basically a clear liquid going in, emptying out all that. And as you pour it in, you can see in the video that the coffee goes from black to brown to tan to just a tint, and then finally it was nothing. It was just clear water again. And for me, my kids, in the video that I did, it doesn't show this, but in the experiment I did with my kids to show them, I let them drink the water, and I said, see, this is showing you that you can get the bad out of yourself. You just need to fill yourself with good to do so. And I was telling them, this is why I do what I do, so that we can get that yucky stuff out and get clean stuff in you. And they seem to act like they understood, which is a good thing. Yeah. So, I mean, go ahead. What's your guys' thoughts?
The first thought about it for me, like positioning yourself as a father, right, is important for your mindset, because you can't just dump your kid out and start over, right? That's not an option. Right. I don't even know what I don't even know what that would be metaphorically.
Right.
But yeah, you can't pour your kids out and start over. So you have to pour in the clear stuff. But that's important for you to understand it. But I mean, even from their perspective, it might be important to understand it as that's just your job as a human being. You know what I mean? Is to just kind of, even with us. And the coffee can represent a million things, right? It can represent bad attitudes. It can represent bad habits or sin, or, whatever you want to use. Right.
Right.
And you're just making sure that you're getting more good stuff than bad,
Yeah. I would say for that, I mean, it seems like that would be more towards for like an older kid, or even like an adult that's filled with bad stuff, like like you said, sin and, bad habits and so on and so forth. But I can see where you can utilize it towards younger kids because, I mean,
Oh yeah.
even if you start out, say you start out like, you know, with the white collar thing, and you're like basically a friggin' priest, you know what I mean? You're so perfect all the time from day one with your kid, but no matter what you do, there's going to be something. It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you could live like what's that movie? Some Daisy on the Prairie or something, where they're living out in the farm, running in the sun
Little
daisies all
House on the
day.
Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie, that's it. Praying to God every day, drinking sweet tea. You got like the perfect life, and there's no sin and no nothing bad. There's always, no matter what, there's always at least one thing, just a little bit, every single time. So if you
Did you read those books?
I was going to ask the question because
I don't read
think
books.
you did.
Did you even watch the show?
Like to call dumb. So.
Did you even watch the show? Because in the books, everything, there's always something bad happening. They were poor.
Yeah.
The father was
with
horrid.
turmoil.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
They're great books.
Yeah.
They're
But
amazing
my
books.
point is, no matter what you do, there's always something bad somewhere, somehow, no matter what.
Exactly.
Right.
Even if the kid's 4 years old and 100% innocent, no matter what, she's gonna be like, "Ooh, there's a bug. I wonder what it'd be like if I just murder it." You know what I mean? That, though, it's to us, to grown-ups, you're like, so what? Who cares? Who gives a crap? You know what I mean?
Right.
But to that kid, there's some sort of like negativity, association to it, connection, and she's kind of attaching, or that child is attaching or connecting that to some sort of negative, right? So if you, like you were saying, if you let it continue and build a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you don't fill that cup that you have with those good things, every time you fill it with a bad thing, it's just going to get darker and darker and darker. So every time you fill it with a bad thing, you've got to go out of your way, or as a child, you have to have your parents are going to do it and do what they can to guide you and direct you and fill your cup full of positive and good stuff. That way, every time you get one of those negative things, it dilutes it and pushes it out as much as possible over the course of time. That way, you don't grow up to be an adult,
right.
What do you call it? Acting in American Eagle commercials and telling everybody about your genes and getting canceled.
That was a fantastic commercial. Call me funny.
Not to say anything, I try to avoid like pornography and boobs and nudity, but I'm gonna be honest here. The first thing I did, Google, who is this Sydney Sweeney person? The moment it came up, the next Google thing I did was Sydney Sweeney's boobs. That was exactly what I Googled. I mean, I had to. I'm sorry. Even my wife was like, "Yeah, you should." Yeah.
Now
You
the
gotta
thing
check
is,
these things out.
Google her boobs. Yeah, I just had to check it out. It is what it is. There's a lot of talk about it.
well, she promotes
All
them
the
too.
up-
So
The uproar was so insane. The first time I heard, I'm like, okay. I was like, all right. Every time I hear something like this, I'm like, okay, why are people mad now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, all right, let me find out the reason why, and then I'll kind of evaluate it and see. And I heard the justification about it being Nazi propaganda, and I was like, what? Okay, all right, come on, seriously.
So what they're upset about is because they're cutting out and I guess this goes to my whole clearing out the crap. The whole thing is because
it's because black people weren't in there.
Well, it's not. It's
it's because she has blonde hair, blue eyes, and she referenced her genes. Supposedly, it's like they're saying it's a Nazi propaganda thing.
Yeah,
but see, because she's Aryan and yada yada. Yeah.
Anything to she wasn't a person of color, and they didn't get to be in the commercials, so of course, yeah.
We're gonna get canceled. Go ahead.
Yeah, canceled. I'm canceled.
I'm not worried about that. It's not like we haven't gone here before, but the fact is look at it this way. in American society, we've for the last 8 years or so been pumped to us people
Mhm.
that are obesely sickly to the point that they allow these plus models talk
Mhm.
about how they can do all these things and
Right.
then die before they're 40 or something because
Right.
they're so fat their heart gives out.
Right.
New York, I think it was, that was one of the major cities, put a statue of a big fat black
Yeah,
woman.
big fat woman. Yeah. Well, that's
So
that Letitia James or whatever, right? I
I
think.
have no
I don't
idea who it
remember.
was, but I
Yeah.
know that society's been has so much crud dumped into it.
Right.
And a lot of that has been what forces parents like us to have to say, like, if my kid's watching a show, I'm like, skip ad.
Yeah. Skip.
We
Goodbye.
can't watch this. We don't
Hmm.
have any services that have for my kids. There's no services that have advertisements. If I see an advertisement
Hmm.
for anything, my kids don't have it. But
Right.
in overall, it's
I
our
mean,
society's been so
you got to think. You
filled
got to
with
think about
junk.
this too. I mean, so in not to go back to the race and color and all that stuff situation, but I mean, how many ads and movies and all these things now are majority black or Hispanic or just a person of color, right?
Hmm.
So in the United States, statistically speaking, if you were to take 1,000 people and put them on camera, what would those statistics look like? You know what I mean?
It'd be mostly white, yeah. I mean,
Practically
It's not even. I
70%
mean,
white,
it's not
13%
even.
black, 5% Hispanic, right? So the off opportunity or the off chance that uh, a black person versus a white person being in the same commercial or the same movie is 13% versus about
It's it's
70%.
it's it's not even about that for me,
So
man. Like
no.
I don't even care.
right, like
Like
right,
I don't
Well,
it's like I
care.
don't
I don't care if the movie's all black or all white or
right,
half black or half. I don't care. Just make a good movie, man.
yeah,
exactly.
for
I
real,
don't care. I don't care. And the
Exactly.
value of a movie is not based on
correct. It's all
ethnicity
the
of the individual that
it's all the
plays the lead
nonsense
character.
that they have to
I don't
push
care.
around it. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point of it is the nonsense. Like I watch
Hmm.
a guy
It's like the gay
the
dudes. I don't care that you're gay. Just
oh
don't propagate it to everybody around you. Nobody cares. Just
I
get
mean,
on with your
yeah,
life.
if you care
well,
about that, I mean, so make a romance about, make a romance about a gay couple. Okay. Make a
Yeah,
great romance.
yeah.
I
right,
don't care.
right, literally.
I don't
Yeah.
care. You
Yeah,
know?
but look at it. That I told you guys prior about that Pinkalicious show that I let my daughter
Oh yeah,
watch, and you said your daughter
yeah,
watched it, this and that. As soon as we went through it, it was basically, mind you, there was some leftist thinking and nothing real major, nothing real. Oh my God! But in
right,
season 12, they had to introduce a gay couple raising a daughter that
yeah,
just moved into the neighborhood, and you're like,
yeah. Well, done with that.
why do you have to force this into a kids
Right.
show?
Mhm.
And see, that's the kind of stuff that, like the Sydney Sweeney advertisement, the reason people are upset is because they're putting back into making healthy lifestyle attractive again. You see
Right,
a beautiful woman, she's in an advertisement,
right.
and your first thought is, wow, she looks good. The girls are
Yeah,
going to look at it and say, well, I wish I could look that way. That's the point of the gene commercial.
right.
You want people to feel like if they work out, if they eat healthy and they put those genes on,
They're gonna look good and feel good.
they're going to have good genes
Hmm.
too. And the whole
Yeah.
concept is what is it? When I was growing up, and I've seen this as a example, is the Sydney or not Sydney? What's her name? Sydney Crawford,
Yeah.
the
Cindy
Pepsi
Crawford.
commercial.
Cindy
Yeah.
Crawford, yeah.
Cindy Crawford, yeah, Cindy
Yeah.
Crawford.
Cindy Crawford.
Yes, I
I
had a
remember
poster.
her.
I had a poster
Yeah.
of her in a bathing
All
suit.
these alliterative names. That's what we're missing. None of us have alliterative names. If we just had,
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's for all these years. I mean, even back in the the days when they were portraying skinny, pretty women as models and stuff. I mean, they had tons and tons of like black and Hispanic and Asian. I mean, that one of the most famous ones. What's her face? I can't remember. She did a TV show for like ever. Um, a tall black woman. She was a supermodel. I can't
Oh,
think of her name.
Tyra
Haley?
Banks.
Tyra
Tyler
Banks. That's
Banks.
it. Yep. She was gorgeous. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I was
She
thinking
has
Haley.
great genes.
Yeah. It
Uh,
has nothing to do with color because here's the
right.
thing is a pretty girl is a pretty girl and like personally like on my biological side of my biological father's side, right? Most of my family on that side, when I say I'm the runt of the family in that side of the family, I'm
Mm,
6 foot. I'm probably one of the smaller ones, but I also can go outside without a shirt on and not scare people in the sense of they're all big, big boys and big, big
yeah.
girls. And there's like a handful, literally a handful of the family that I knew that was skinny enough to not be called overweight. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Now, me personally, I've always found that to be kind of a disgusting thing, but that's what society needs to see is that you need to live healthy to be able
mm,
to be active. Now,
yeah.
mind
In
you,
a weird way, it goes back to the coffee in the cup. You know what I mean?
exactly.
The
And this,
poison that
the
we've all been poisoning ourselves with for the last 10, 15 years, we need to start reintegrating healthy habits, healthy lifestyles.
right,
It's not, I mean, I feel for the people that are overweight and fat and sick or whatever. I get it. I don't hate on them. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna sit here and go, you're a perfectly healthy and capable person. You're fat simply because you can't put food down.
right,
Mental illness. Sorry, my grandma's overweight, but she's got a dead thyroid and she's 86. She has a reason to be fat. You know what I mean? That's a reason. She has a chemical imbalance based on a hormone in her body because of her thyroid. But if you're just simply fat and you're
yeah.
30, and I'm sorry, you know.
Well, this this goes back to my whole purpose of this topic is as a father, in my opinion, this is kind of what got me leading down this rabbit hole, is that like I use the example when my son was asking me why he couldn't watch certain videos about because he used to really love watching mythologies and cryptics and all this. And then eventually he got scared to be by himself because of the mantis man that he saw in the Y files. And I'm still paying for that because,
Mm-hmm.
and I explained to him, hey, I'm trying to pour clear water into your head metaphorically. And for a 7 year old, it's amazing that he understands metaphorically. But I explained,
I'm glad you're not waterboarding your kid. I didn't figure you were. Just
no,
for the internet. So everyone,
no,
just to
I
clarify.
definitely do not waterboard my
Metaphorical
kids.
water. Metaphorical water.
Yes, metaphorical. So, and if you're not sure what metaphorical is, be ashamed because my 7 year old does. But, but the fact is that the I explained to him that because these videos has him being scared of things, having him nervous on stuff. I mean, my son used to be fearless and all this stuff, so hopefully it's a stage. But I explained to him that I changed his videos to be strictly nature central and educational. So those are my way of pouring back in information into his head of what is real and based in reality. Now, if you believe in Bigfoot, good for you. Hopefully you find him and have a good kumbaya. But the fact is with all the cameras, videos, and everything capable nowadays, if Bigfoot existed, he would have been captured on something other than a blurry camera or a shaky video that makes you can't tell if it's a bear or what.
It would
He's just
be
really good at hiding. Okay,
it would
guys.
be a
Yeah.
video of me and him laying on the
Jeez.
ground and me just rubbing my fingers through his luscious
You
locks.
guys have no faith.
Well,
And feeding him those what are those beef jerky things? Yeah, I'd be feeding him
oh,
beef
Slim
jerky and rubbing
Jims.
my fingers through his
Oh no,
luscious
Slim Jims was
locks.
somebody else. I'm trying to
Makes me
remember
think of
the
that
beef
scene from,
chicken.
from Tenacious D. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie.
Yeah, I
Remember?
like Tenacious D.
Yeah, but
He's tripping with the Bigfoot in the woods.
Yeah.
but but let me ask you guys something, just to get us back on track. What do you guys find that needs to in your lives? Because all three of us have different lives. I mean, we all live different ways. We have different jobs. We have different backgrounds. You have a girl. I have a boy and a girl.
Mhm.
You're just about have your first son out of this is your fourth kid, Tom. Is that right? So
Yep.
Amazing.
my wife scares me with talking about having a third, and you're going for
Yeah.
your fourth. So,
Yep.
but
We rolled
We
the
all
dice.
have-
You're doing God's work because I can't do it. Because our society is below the 2.1 mark.
It is.
And we are going to have a problem here soon.
but answer
So
me
you're
something.
doing
I
God's
know. Trying to do what I can do. Doing what I can
And it's
do.
always fun to practice. But what do you guys do to actually, like, if you notice something going in your kid that you can say, no, I don't like the way I see this happening with them. The foods they eat. Tom, you said that your daughter puts down food because she says, I can't pronounce half the things that's on here.
Yeah, that's just leading by example, you know.
Exactly. But
That's a form of good stuff, right? You're pouring in the clear water, right? It's
exactly.
leading by example, instilling values, exposing them to media that contradicts the main narratives, you know. That's big with the 14-year-old, is trying to give her media that actually contradicts the mainstream narrative, because it's so hard to find. All the young adult fiction that's available to her online and through her school library and stuff is just inundated with the stuff, and
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
it's not easy. It's not easy, you know. So
Mhm.
But have you guys had a situation where that crud got into your kids in their minds or in their bodies that you're like, okay, I have to work this out?
Oh yeah, yeah, several times. So I mean, my daughter's hung out with some. I think we've even discussed it before. One
The
of the
family you
neighbors'
had some
kids.
beers with?
Yeah,
she was
I mean,
watching stuff and you didn't realize.
right.
Yeah.
She was
That was
watching
the Wilson.
shows. Right. Yeah. Shows. Right.
The Wilson
the
butt.
Wilson episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was watching shows and movies that we didn't really approve of.
right.
You know. So I mean, now we just have to we don't let her watch that stuff. A lot of it we watch prior to letting her watch a movie and stuff, and we talk to her about it. I mean, there was other things like when she was 4, that same girl told her the word vagina when she was 4 years old. Seems like it's not really that big of a deal, right? But I mean, she's 4.
Right.
I don't need to sit down and explain to her what that is. I'm not going to. Just so what we did was we just basically just kind of at the time, being though she was 4, you just when they say naughty words, you just ignore it and don't say anything, and they kind of play off that attention, so they stop. And then we start working in other things, so good words, you know. I don't know, just more positive things, you know what I mean? And now that's what we do with like the TV and the shows. We watch more positive shows, cartoons, or we don't at all. We have her a Bible book, but it's every day. It's devotions. So every day she has to read a daily devotions. So before bed she reads devotions every single day. Those are just helpful to, like you said, or like you're talking about the dirty throughout the course of the day. At the end of the day, you fill it with the clean stuff, with the Bible devotions and stuff like that, and hopefully it gets out all
Family
that.
dinner.
Yeah.
The little traditions,
Mm-hmm.
family dinner. It kind of gives you an opportunity. Hey, how was your day today?
Mm-hmm.
And your kid
Right.
brings stuff up, and you can kind of help them process through some of that stuff that
Yep.
they, you know, yeah.
Absolutely. That's some of the stuff that we do. The devotions we do right before bed, like in bed. Like she gets in bed and my wife lays down with her and reads devotions with her. And then like you said, dinner time, we sit and we talk about stuff, talk
Mm-hmm.
about positive things. What did you do today? How was your day? So on and so forth. Especially since I wasn't there all day. You know what I mean? Um, right now, my wife's with her most of the day. You know, because she's home. It's summertime. But she does go to summer care every once in a while to go have friends and hang out and have, do separate things, give my wife some free time as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we try and sit down at dinner time and chit chat and stuff. She tries to grab the TV and nope, snatch that remote.
I've noticed that for my daughters, it's like different for each. I mean, obviously the
Mhm.
youngest, or like my 12-month-old, she's just a baby. But the
Yeah.
8-year old and the 14-year old, the 14-year old, I've talked about this before on here. I think we read books together and we'll come together and discuss the books, and that's been a really good way for me to kind
Yeah.
of get an insight into what's going on. And then we'll also stay up late and we'll watch movies with her, movies that we think would be interesting, but also kind of teach a message.
Hmm.
Maybe that are just a little bit, closer to her grade level, that my 8-year old, maybe too inappropriate for my 8-year old, but it's, you know what I
Right.
mean? Old enough that
Right.
Mm-hmm.
she can understand. Kind of gives her this feeling of like connectedness, or we have like our own space with her.
Hmm.
And she can kind of explore these ideas. And that's
Yeah.
been kind of a cool opportunity. And then with my 8-year old, I'll just take her everywhere I go if I'm out working or going shopping, and she's always just yip yapping. And I can kind of, that gives me an opportunity to kind of engage with her. But she's
Yeah.
easy to get to talk. She just talks nonstop.
Yeah.
She's 8 years old.
Yeah.
I think a lot about. Have you guys ever read James Allen's "As a Man Thinketh"?
No, I don't think I've
So
heard
I
of it
think
even.
it's very short. You guys should both. We should do an episode on it. You guys should both read it, and we should do an episode on it. But it's an amazing book, and in the book he has a bunch of analogies, and one of the analogies he uses is like a garden, and he says that you have to make sure that he goes, these weed seeds are just going to land in your garden all the time. There's going to be weed seeds landing in your garden, and it's kind of your opportunity to be vigilant and kind of make sure you're pulling anything you realize is
Hmm.
a weed, you're pulling and throwing it out, and making sure that
Right.
you're only putting fruit bearing seeds in the garden. Um, and he goes into the depth on the analogy. It's really good. But I kind of
Yeah.
thought about that when Eric had mentioned this idea of the glass and the dirty stuff. I thought it was
Yeah.
fascinating. But
I mean, that
I think
makes
about
sense.
this. I think about this too, and it's like, I don't know that the goal is to get the water entirely clear. I mean, that's not really possible. There's always going to be a
Right.
little bit of, and sometimes that stuff can kind of enrich your life a little bit, and in some
Hmm.
weird way. You know what I mean? So, you
Yeah.
don't want, you've got
Experience.
to kind of have balance, right? Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah. And
experienced the
Yeah.
negative before, so next time it comes up or comes into your life, you know how to handle a little bit better.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Stuff like
Right.
that.
So, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, negative isn't always bad. It's going to happen. Um, I would say it's all about working through it and learning ways to heal from it if it's something that really was detrimental. But if it's something small, such as like negative thoughts or ideas or negative ideologies, such as wokeism. There's ways around that as well, such as especially for the parents, just making sure you instill positive values. Um, American culture. If you're American, we're American, so I'm going to instill traditional American culture into my family. You know, positive conservative thinking, stuff like that. Majority Christian ideologies. Um, even though we're not over there, at the altar every single day. Oh, we're
right.
we're Christian, but we're not like
You're not Bible
I don't wear a
thumpers.
sundress to Sunday evening. So
That'd be
it's
kind of scary.
be like a gorilla in a dress and be weird.
Let me pitch
What's all
this.
that hair? But
An
yeah,
image I
Second time
definitely
we're getting
don't.
canceled.
yeah, it's nothing new, nothing
Yeah,
new.
like I said, we've already crossed that threshold many times. Let me pitch this question out to you guys then. So I was thinking about the carnival and good, bad, things like this, right?
Mhm.
So right before we left, you know those games where you take a water gun, you have to spray it in the center, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So I literally watched my son and my daughter play, and then there was this other family down the way, and there's one kid that was doing it, and it was more the father than the kid, right? But all three basically hit the top at the same time. Now, the guy gave the family closest to him the main prize and gave my daughter a prize, but not my son. Now, I literally watched as I'm sitting there going, okay, I know my son got up there either before or at the same time as the other kid. I kept my mouth shut because there's one lesson I wanted to teach my son, and that was you're going to lose sometimes. If
Mhm.
it's your fault, if it's not your fault, because he even said, my my octopus was up there before the other kids. I'm like, very well could be. The guy chose
Right.
to give my opinion, and we can get canceled for this as well, so we'll add it
Yeah.
to the list.
Canceled.
But my opinion is the guy that was running the game, his main language was Spanish. So the family closest to him was speaking Spanish, and he was talking to that family while they
Yeah.
were playing. So I explained to my son, if you won or lost, you're going to have to deal with people that are making the choice that's not always going to either agree with you, be fair. She goes, well, that guy didn't even watch. I'm like, no, he didn't. He
Right.
was talking to the people. He goes, well, how did he know who won? I'm like, because he chose the family he was talking to and being friendly with.
Mhm.
I said, it sucks, but it's life. It's
Right.
just what happens. Now, I let my daughter get her prize, and I let him deal with the loss because I wanted him to learn that you're going to lose things at times. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be unfair times that no one ever said life would be fair. Now, that is, in a sense, crap that gets into a person.
Yeah.
But it also has a positive role in somebody's life because you don't want them thinking that they're going to get a trophy for just playing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
crap, you like you said, some crap has to get in there, but how do you guys look at that?
I would have said the same thing. I mean, honestly, I think what you did and how you handled it was probably the best. I mean, you know, teaching him that though you have won, or though you may have been better in some instances, it's okay to understand. It's like whatever. It's just a game. Move on. You know what I mean? Uh,
Right.
I mean that now as he gets older, obviously he's going to need to learn in certain which to separate certain situations like this one. You know, you can't let them get away with it, and in this one you can. But at his age, it's not really. You know, at his age and with that particular situation, the best thing to do is to teach him just to have a little humility. Just, the kid got kid got the octopus, whatever. You know, it
Right.
is what it is. You know, it's unfair. It is unfair, but such is life. You know, move on. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's just teaching him the positive outcome of it. You know, that kid may not, may not have everything. You know, may be really poor or may have a bad life or whatever the case is. So, in this instance, God chose to do that for him, and it is what it is. You know.
I think that's an intricate experience there. I mean, because you have so
Mhm.
many opportunities to kind of like that's a rich experience for him, right? He kind of gets an
Mm-hmm.
insight into like human nature a little bit. He kind of
Yeah.
gets an insight into, like you said, the fairness of life, and so that's an interesting story. And it's those types of experiences that make fatherhood so fascinating, honestly, because it seems like such a mundane experience, but as a father, you just have it's like pretty complicated territory to navigate sometimes.
It is, yeah.
And you don't want to go making a mountain out of every molehill, but it certainly
Mm-hmm.
speaks to the presence that you have as a father when you're able to kind of analyze these situations. And yeah, so kudos to you. I think as far as the dirt in the cup goes, like you said, yeah, there's always going to be a little dirt in the cup. And I actually think of, I don't know if you guys know the band Modest Mouse or not, but
Mm-hmm.
No.
I think yeah, so they're pretty philosophical, I guess. But they have a there's one line where he says, as life gets longer, awful feels softer. And it feels pretty soft to me. And I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. And that's one of those opportunities for your kid where, it kind of just blunts the edge a little bit. And then the other line in there is, if it takes shit to make bliss, then I feel pretty blissfully. So in other words, like, that's like kind of spins that idea on its head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that you realize that experiencing the situations like that make those situations where he triumphs even more, valuable for him, right? Because you have to have both sides. You have to have the participation trophy, and you have to have the achievement award. You got to have the, hey, good job, buddy, get in there. But you also got to have the, hey, man, you really tried hard and you did great. You beat every other kid out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes those feelings even more valuable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is like you said. I think it's a very intricate, difficult situation to handle and understand and go through because, on one hand, do you want to teach your kid to stand up for himself and say, no, hey, no, I won. You know what I mean? That's not fair. So you want to teach him fairness, but on the other hand, you also want to teach the kid humility, and then on the other hand, you also want to teach the kid sometimes life just isn't fair and you just have to roll with the punches. You know what I mean? It's an important kind of way. I think he handled it, to me, I think he handled it okay. Just because he is so young. It's not really time to be teaching him hey, stand up for myself. You know what I mean? In some things, yeah, but in that small of a situation, not really. And then I guess it does kind of play back into that Jordan Peterson saying, you can't be weak and virtuous at the same time. You know what I mean? And weak men are actually more dangerous than strong men because strong men typically have it under control. And
you can't be peaceful if you're incompetent.
Right. Correct.
You're just you're just
worthless.
harmless.
You're just harmless. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And the terrible thing is that those men that are weak and harmless are actually more dangerous and more violent and actually bad for society than a big strong man that has committed violence or has seen painful, terrible things. So there is a level of requirement to have some negative things throughout the course of your life. That way, as you get older, you have that experience of pain and structure and rebuild and gaining strength to become somebody that has at some point dealt with this situation. So when you are older, you don't like handle it like an inexperienced, weak fool. You know what I mean? Because in a situation like that, think about two adults. An adult that has never handled a situation like that, had mom and daddy take care of everything. If that same situation happened and the guy gave the octopus to some other kid, what would a grown, weak, woke, purple-haired creep that lives in his mommy's basement, how would he have handled that? Whining like a baby, throwing a fit, right? But a grown man that is competent, understanding, he probably been like, whatever. You know what I mean?
and think about this too, like throughout your life, like as a man, that is a really, really tough lesson to learn. That lesson that, like, maybe this is just one of those times I just got to kind of take it on the chin and move on. You know what I mean? This is like a turn the other cheek type situation. You know what I mean? Seriously, not to use, I know that's a huge biblical reference, but you get the idea, right? It's one of those opportunities where you just kind of take it in stride. And as a man, I know me personally, I've had to learn that lesson probably 100 times, and I still have a hard time swallowing it sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you hadn't learned that lesson so many times throughout the course of your life,
Yeah.
and then you learned it now
Yeah.
when you're 35, 38, 40,
Yeah.
it would have been
Yeah.
like, you know
Well,
what I
I'd probably
mean?
get my ass kicked.
Right. Or go to jail. Right. Go to
Yeah.
jail,
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even think if that situation, you put that situation in a small town, like where a lot of people, everybody kind of knows each other, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, because you're all never really dealt with stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Reputation's everything.
Yeah, your
Right.
reputation's destroyed because you just acted like a fool. Now you're gonna go back, get your gun, maybe go to the guy's house
Mm.
because you know the guy, you know where he
Well,
lives, and go kill him,
that's
then you
the
go to
thing,
prison, kill somebody. And it's a laundry list of
harmless
scenarios.
today. It's a fig harmless because they're not
Right,
literally harmless because they have firearms and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Little
Yeah.
those little things throughout the course of time, So like it's like filling it up with the dirt and the negative things to an extent is important. Obviously, no child should go through like physical and sexual abuse. Obviously,
No.
there is a line. There is a line in which it just no one should go through it. Period. But
Right.
those little instances of negativity and experience are important to develop the child's character to becoming an adult, but ensuring as your job as a father and as a parent is to ensure that as that time goes on, every time
Mm-hmm.
something bad goes in, two things positive go in also and dilute that
Mm-hmm.
bad. Whether it's explaining why that happened and the positivity of it, or just there's nothing you can do, learn from the experience, and then add in, hey, well, I love you, son, or whatever the case is.
Right. So
Mhm.
it's, you know, the old saying, what is it? Weak times creates, or
Yeah.
strong men create
Another
good
cycle of four.
times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good times create weak men create bad times create strong men. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the one thing that is just in my mind about that is the fact of, like, and this is my personal experiences. I was blessed enough that my mom's helped me out in life to be able to survive when I was down, this and that. But I still lived life at times where I've had crappy things. I've had to live
Mhm.
in a friend's basement. I had to move, give one of my friends one of my couches, and then sleep on that couch in his place to be able to make it through. Because part of it also was, is as much as I love my mom, I'm also not going to be moving back in with my mom when I was in my 20s and things like that. 20s, 30s, I forget how old I was, but
Mhm.
I wasn't going to be that guy. I refused to do that. To me, now with a family, if something happens, it's a different scenario because I have to take care of my family.
Mhm.
But I've gone through that point where I just couch road. I basically slept in my truck a few times. I've done different things. And those hard times, knowing that I've had to live and deal with just crap to be able to survive. I kid you not, I survived 1 month on just buying a 50-pound bag of potatoes. And my friends thought it was so funny, they bought me a book for 101 ways to cook a potato. So the fact is we do what we have to survive. Those hard times, I think, made me more resilient, where I see some of these people who they appear to have all these great things, all of this stuff just given to them, blah, blah, blah. Problem is when something happens that they get scared, get nervous, get whatever it is, right? If it's not perfectly given to them in a bow, they crumble quickly over it.
Mhm.
And, I think in retrospect, talking about what kind of crap to get out, what kind of crap to let slide by, letting your kids deal with hardships at times isn't always crap, like we were
Yeah.
discussing,
It's not always
but
bad.
to me, the thought of a kid not having any hard times, no challenges, no, it looks like Tom cut out. He'll come back on in a minute.
Yeah, they'll come back on.
But basically, no hardships, no anything like that. It's kind of, to me, worse to give them that easy time. Like you said, the blue haired leftist
Mm,
living in their mom's basement. They're, I mean, what do you do?
right.
It doesn't help any kid to grow up and be so sensitive to every little thing.
Hmm.
Going back to the Sydney Sweeney commercials that we mentioned earlier, people are
Right.
getting upset because they're not seeing a fat slob on TV so that
Yeah.
they can
They're
feel
not
good
seeing
about
themselves.
themselves. Exactly.
Hmm.
So they're not seeing themselves. And you know what? We shouldn't strive to look like we do. I mean, I have my exercise bike there. I have some weights on the floor.
Hmm.
I try to work out what I can. My age, it's one, my schedule makes it harder to do. Two,
Yeah.
being able to do it. And three, genetics isn't on my side, especially the older I get.
You don't have
So,
good genes.
not
Me
unless I'm
neither.
paying for them. And
Me neither.
that, that's why I buy Carhartts.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I
So,
mean, I don't know. You got to think about it in situations like this. So to me, um, in today's society, and I don't mean just today, as in 2025. I mean, say hypothetically, in the last
overall,
20 years, overall, in the last 20 years, people haven't been taught to take accountability for themselves and their actions and their family, to take accountability and be responsible for themselves and stuff like that. People haven't been taught that. So
right.
to me, the whole Sydney Sweeney situation, I mean, it's a bunch of people who don't want to take accountability for something. You know what I mean? Think about what happens if you go up to a fat person and be like, "You're fat." What's going to happen? They're going to, "Oh my God, you're so,"
Yeah,
whine about it and you cry, a baby, But I mean, if they were somebody that were taught throughout their life to take accountability and responsibility for their actions, for starters, they wouldn't be fat. And for two, if they were, they would be like, "Hey, you're right. Maybe I should do something about it." Or they would just ignore it, go, "Okay." Well,
right.
you know what
Well, and that's the thing is in today's society,
I mean?
and we've discussed about the difference of how things were when we were growing up for the information our parents and families had versus nowadays.
Mhm.
That you've always known that eating healthy affects how you look, affects how you feel. I
Right.
mean, I kid you not, I've always heard people, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't don't eat bread, don't eat fruits, don't eat all you're
Yeah.
supposed to eat is red meats. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's
Mm.
great. Personally, let me fry bacon up every day, but let me fry up bacon with a slice of ham
Yeah,
and
bacon's got a lot of salt though. That's the
it
problem. I
well,
mean,
yeah,
it's really just about knowing and understanding the diet, basics. And the problem with diet and stuff today is that they have quite literally taught everybody the wrong information. So like people like my grandmother and my wife's parents, they will 100% stand by that they should drink a giant glass of milk at every meal. They should eat fruit horrendously. They should fill their bellies full of vegetables and bread and eat minimal meat and eat a little bit
right,
of meat, you know.
right,
And I keep telling them like that's completely opposite of what you should be doing. They still believe that having two eggs for breakfast is going to make them have high cholesterol and be sick. And I'm like, I've been eating 8 eggs a day every single breakfast for 2 years. I go to the doctor and my doctor's like, cholesterol's fine, everything's good. Blood pressure,
and
my blood pressure is lower. And you know what? I've kind of had high blood pressure for the majority of my life, and I used to eat Cheerios.
Mm-hmm.
because forever it was like, oh, Cheerios lowers your blood pressure, all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's BS. It's actually a
Yeah.
lie. It actually makes
It
it
is.
worse. And you know what? My blood pressure is kind of leveled out and a lot better than it was. And I haven't touched Cheerios in 2 years. And now I eat eggs every day. So based on what they tell you, the scientists and government and powers to be tell you, my blood pressure and cholesterol should be through the roof because I eat literally 8 eggs every single day. It's not. It's way down and a lot better, and a lot healthier.
Right.
My heart
Well,
is running top. So,
it's your one thing is I I watch a lot of videos while I work because I have
mhm.
sound in the background because for me
Yeah, I do the same thing.
silence is more distracting than noise.
Right.
And a lot of times if I'm doing something that's menial to the point of it's just click, repeat, click, repeat, click, repeat.
Yeah.
If you don't have sound, you're going to go, stop. I want to kill somebody. I'm going to go out,
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact is I was listening to this channel and I think it was called Infograph or something like this.
hmm
And they were talking about how before, like the cereal company,
There he is.
yeah,
Ah,
there it was.
there he was.
But
Almost.
this, yeah, so the cereal company and the like these processed companies, the food companies that made these processed foods, they
Mm,
pushed for people to like the scientists, the doctors, all these people that were speaking out saying that eggs are bad for you and raw milk is bad for you and blah blah blah. The fact
mm,
is they pushed they pushed they said because they were pushing that eggs were bad, people were eating foods, even cereal technically isn't bad for you, grains are bad for you.
mm.
It's the sugar
Right.
that's in it. And once they started pushing stay away from fat, stay away from cholesterol, stay away from
Mm,
all these things, people started going away from them, eating more fruits, which
mm.
fruits are good
Yeah. To an
in
extent.
certain amount. Yeah.
Right.
Eating fruits have natural sugars.
hmm
Natural sugars still can be detrimental to you.
Right. Still sugar. Right.
Yes,
How
your
you think
body.
alcohol's made?
Hey, trust me, you can't see it, but right behind the picture of my wife and
Yeah.
I and my
Kind
mom,
of see it.
my stepdad, you can see
Yeah.
the tops in the shadows.
Yeah.
On the other side of the wall, there's over 150 bottles. Trust me,
Yes.
there's plenty of wine in this house. I know well enough how.
Yeah.
But the point comes down to is that they talked about how because of that, people stayed away and ate more nasty stuff that
Right.
let's get Tom set back up. Going on is a lot of the problems that
Mhm.
occurred is because people were being told avoid fats, avoid cholesterols.
Right.
So they started eating more sugar laced foods.
Mm.
And because sugar, once your brain starts getting that sugar into it, it's an addictive process too.
Right.
So, like if you eat potato chips, the salts and the other MSGs and blah 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 that's in it makes your body say eat more, eat more,
Eat
eat
more.
more.
Right. Yeah.
So your body's craving. It's like they said one of the biggest drawbacks of sodas is your body if you eat something that's sugary, your body says hold up. But if it
Yeah.
goes in as a liquid form, your body doesn't process it in the same way. So
Yeah.
you can drink and drink tons of sodas and tons of stuff and consume more sugar and become fatter, become tired, become lazy.
hmm
And like I've gone down this whole rabbit hole that I can really go
Yeah.
deep on, but
Me too.
that that goes into getting the crap out of your
Yeah.
body out of
hmm
because like we I think I made my first batch of ice cream with actual white sugar for the first time in 2 years, something
Yeah.
like this.
Oof.
And normally I make it with honey because it's a little bit healthier sweetener, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But we're running low on honey. And until my mom comes with the batches of honey from Ohio when she comes,
Mhm.
I have to ration what I'm using it on. And we don't, we only eat like a small bowl, maybe this big
Yeah.
of ice cream at a time. So it's not like,
Just really not a
and
whole bunch. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the thing is when I did buy store bought, I would eat like a big bowl of ice
Mhm.
cream and be like, all right, I could eat some more if I wanted to, but I know I shouldn't. You know, when I eat
Yeah.
my homemade stuff without all the chemicals, with a little bit of stuff, I know by the time I finish it, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm like, all right, that's good. I'm
Mhm.
satisfied, blah, blah, blah. And trying to get that stuff out of our systems, it's hard to
It's
do.
tough. Yeah. Because I
But
mean, a lot of it's even in just the food like that you normally eat, like bread
hmm
and even vegetables and stuff. Like if you go, you would think eating an apple or eating say a
grapes
green
or
pepper or a
yeah.
carrot, you'd be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's healthy. It's natural fruit or veggies, right? But I mean, they've done so much stuff to it now, and they've riddled it with all kinds of chemicals and stuff. I mean, even those for a lot of times are bad. I mean, it's hard to get away from it, So the best thing, I mean, really the best thing you do for yourself is eat majority like stuff that's not processed food, like because it still is going to
Mhm.
have all that bad stuff in it. So you can't get away from it. But things like meat and veggies are probably the best, because I mean, all of our bread, all the wheat is just riddled with all kinds of like they basically bleach the flour and then
Yeah.
which takes out all the nutrients of it, and then
hmm
because of that they have to add in that whatever that chemical is to add back in some of the nutrients, which is toxic. So because of that, because it's toxic, they have to add in this other chemical that neutralizes the toxicity of it, and now you're just eating like three or four chemicals. So now, and then they GMO the crap out of the wheat anyways.
mm
So you don't even realize it, but I mean, you're just myrtleizing your body. You know what I mean?
Well, there's
So,
also phytic acid in bread too, which blocks
right.
mineral absorption, blocks
Yeah.
iron, zinc, calcium,
hmm
magnesium absorption. Yeah,
Yeah.
homemade sourdough bread actually has very little phytic acid in it
Right.
compared
We
to
we avoid
store-bought bread.
bread like for the most part, like almost at all cost. We just avoid it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's so bad for you.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife gets like she can't eat wheat. She'll take like little bites here and there of things because every now and again we'll have like spaghetti or whatever. And she'll take a bite now and then, but she gets like rashes from it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I told her, I bet you if we were in Greece, you probably wouldn't get a rash.
oh
Probably
no.
wouldn't be as
mm.
bad. You know what I mean?
But
You'd
see,
probably
like
be perfectly fine. Probably would have no issues. And then the other issue is they've kind of trained everybody to use like vegetable oil. Like, it's vegetables. No, no, it's not. It's literally the
it's
worst of
seed.
the worst of the worst. Yeah, seed oils are so bad for you. So I
hmm
I actually use coconut oil and olive oil for practically everything, and
I was
butter.
gonna say
Yeah,
we're
we use
Freaking
tallow,
tallow. Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't heard of
tallow is
but
that
good.
one.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Well, we
use regular
render it. It's
butter.
very expensive to get it at the store, but we render it ourselves. So, which is
Yeah,
actually
that's
very
cool.
easy to do. Very
Really?
easy
Uh,
to do. Yeah.
you'll have
Hmm.
to share that with me sometime. I'm curious on
Yeah,
it, but
yeah. I don't even know how to do
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
I
we can
know
go over it, dude. It's yeah.
Yeah,
we'll have a whole episode on
yeah.
rendering and food preparations
Fruit prep. Yeah.
because
My
I
new
know like
grill is
I mean,
like the problem with that thing, because, I love pancakes, obviously, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but that's not really a freaking secret here. Pancakes
yeah.
are delicious. But, reality is they're bread and wheat, sugar, and all the nonsense. So we make them
Right.
fine.
yeah.
But whatever, I got this new grill and it's so awesome. Well, the only way to season it and get it so it doesn't stick is to coat the friggin' thing in vegetable oil. I
Mm.
can. I tried using coconut oil and I tried using olive oil and stuff, different oils. Nope.
So
It's
look,
like the where it
get
flakes off.
get
Yeah.
flax oil. Do some research
Flax.
on it. Yeah, flax oil.
Now,
Yeah,
Hmm.
isn't
yeah, like
flax seeds too?
it is, but well, it
It's
is,
probably
but
not
it's
as
the best
bad.
when it comes to curing cast iron though. It
Is
has
it?
some
Yeah.
I don't know the science, something to do with the flash points. All I know
Yeah.
is that back when I got my cast irons for the first
It's the
time, I was in like
temperature
a
it
cast iron
burns.
forum with a bunch
Hmm.
of other nerdy cast iron people, and they told me flax, yeah, something you
Flaxseed.
can geek out about. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Uh,
told me flaxseed was best, yeah, for a
Yeah.
whole litany of reasons. So,
I'm just gonna get a bunch of money from people buying all my t-shirts and stuff, and then I'm gonna go
yeah,
spend
right.
like $1,000 on a stainless steel awesome one. Buy t-shirts.
so stainless steel. I will always say stainless steel is the best.
Yeah.
I love stainless steel, but I'm
We use
also
cast iron
prejudiced.
and stainless. We use
Yeah.
both.
See, we
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
stainless steel. I use stainless steel as much as possible,
Yeah.
but a lot of stuff that's done is I have a cast iron griddle that I use
Mm.
for pancakes and things like that.
Right.
I have a whole list of, but with me doing a lot of food service stuff, I've gotten so like I have a pan. I have two pans. One stainless steel that I got from a food service company I worked for, and another is one of those non-sticks. Here's the one thing most people don't realize why the non-sticks you get for restaurants versus what we buy in stores is the non-stick one I have for food service quality for what restaurants buy. That thing I've had for 10 years about
Yeah.
now,
It's nice.
and no chips, no scrapes, no, it's like a fantastic. But
Yeah.
I have a non-stick that I got that maybe 5 years or what so have you, and it's already starting to chip. And you're like, okay, throw that piece of junk away. And the fact is what what you spend your money on for quality stuff does make a difference.
Yeah.
But you have to actually look at what's quality. There's there's so much stuff out there that pretends to be quality, pretends to be this and that. Now, I'm not saying everything you have to buy, you have to have top notch, blah, blah, blah. Some stuff you buy and it's easily just, I'm only using this for a couple times and get rid of it,
Mhm.
and you have that intention. But it's like buying good foods,
Yeah.
buying good books,
Yeah.
getting rid of Hulu and Netflix and
Mm.
all these places that just are trying to push as much junk in your kids.
Mm.
I mean, it's a challenge. It's not the easiest thing to do because we've gotten so comfortable and relying on
Yeah.
crap.
And it
And
can
many
be
times when it
oddly
comes,
slightly bit more expensive.
Hmm.
I mean, it can be, but honestly, I found like over the years for me that I actually save quite a bit of money, by avoiding
Yeah.
a lot of the bull crap. Like we do cloth diapers with our kids, save a ton of money
Hmm.
Yeah.
there. We feed our kids actual food, not baby food, processed baby food, so that's
Right.
cheaper. Like we just it's honestly it's been less
Mm.
expensive for us. We cook
Mm.
all of our food at home instead of eating out.
Yeah. And you know what?
We don't buy
All
packaged
of
snacks.
yeah,
We prepare
all of
all of
my
our
friends
foods,
go to the doctor because their kid has the common cold or the flu or
Yeah,
bronchitis or whatever
right.
all the time. Those are all copays. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, maybe they have
Right.
insurance, but $30
Yeah.
copay six times a
Right.
year times however many
My
kids
my kids
becomes a
don't even know
lot,
what a doctor is. No, I'm
right?
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Oh
My
man.
daughter pretty much like because we treat her food very important as an actual like part of her, and she
Yeah.
eats very
Hmm.
healthy and very important. We teach her
Right,
about it,
right.
all that stuff. But because she eats the way she does and she's active and stuff, sorry, I mean, she doesn't get sick with like these common colds. Like everybody in her class will be sick and she won't be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
She will get a
Hmm.
cold. She has obviously. We're pretty sure we've had the coronas and all that
Ooh.
stuff. We've had common cold. We've had the flu. We've all gotten sick, and you can't get away from it, obviously. But whenever my daughter gets it, or even me or my wife get, cold or sick, I mean, it's like 2 days and it's gone. Like two
Right.
days. Where I can tell you very much so, prior to my kid, when I was living life like a, you know, a modern day creepoid, just eating whatever and drinking and smoking and doing all that stuff, I can tell you if I got the common cold, I'd be sick for weeks.
Oh
Where
yeah.
today it's like 2 days, 2, 3 days, gone, out the door.
Oh,
You know what
it's
I mean?
like I
So
told my wife, she's been under the weather all weekend and still was a bit Monday.
mhm.
And she said something. I'm like, well, honey, I'm only allowed to be sick once a year. I have that once a year allowance of being sick. Other time, I just don't have the flexibility. I don't have the time. Things
Yeah,
have to get done. I just can't be
Hmm.
sick. And a lot
yeah,
of that, as much as I joke
Yeah.
about that, a lot of it is because I'm very active with my kids. We're outside, we're playing in the house, we're doing all this stuff. We eat
mm,
healthy. We make our own breads, we make our own ice cream. We don't go I think we got delivery last night just because, and it was first time in, I couldn't even tell you the last time we
yeah.
ordered out. But
It's good for a
generally,
soul every so often.
yeah. So, but generally the fact is that we eat healthy foods. We eat
Right.
real meats. We eat things that are helping us be able to be better and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we don't get sick. We
Right.
don't really have illnesses. Our allergies are are horrible,
Yeah.
but overall, we're healthy people,
Hmm.
and we've gotten a lot better about the things we've done over time because we start learning stuff. And
Yeah.
that's the thing is we also never stop trying to learn how to be better and be able to improve what we're doing. And my wife at first was always, oh no, that's just you're being paranoid, you're being this, you're being that. But then she's, as I'm saying, look at this, and she sees it, and she's starting to realize because more information's coming out,
Hmm.
and just
Yeah.
like you know,
You're
what is it?
you're only a conspiracy theorist until they find out you're right.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
like
That's exactly what's been happening. Mhm.
people thought I was nuts when I said they'd put the shot into the foods, and
Yeah.
they're putting it into lettuce, and
Yep.
they're putting it on floss.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floss I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so
were talking about doing it today. I was watching uh thing about it, a show about it. I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about testing phases for that stuff, and they were
hmm
concerned because you take a vaccine, it's a specific dose. What
right.
happens if somebody's like you put it in Cheetos? Most common people take 2, 3 handfuls and get on with it, right? But what if you get like somebody that's like eating the giant freaking bag, and then they eat the giant soda and it's all full of the same vaccine, and they just like
hmm
mash basically tons and tons of vaccine. They basically OD on a vaccine.
Well,
If that's possible. So that's what they were considering. And maybe they shouldn't do it. So I don't know if they're going to or not.
well,
Or maybe they'll just microdose it. You know what I
and
mean?
that's the thing is they're trying to stop giving us the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves.
Right.
And this is where people tend to think I'm nuts or have their opinions of me and think whatever you want. I'm fine with that. People has thought a lot of things about me throughout my life, and I'm still here. The
Hmm.
fact is one, states are trying to eliminate the ability to homeschool because they want to control what your kids think.
Yeah.
They try to make it harder for there's some areas that make it illegal to have gardens, and they make it hard for you to do stuff to get your own foods, get natural stuff, and all this stuff so that they can pump you full of whatever they want to pump you full of. There's just a whole litany of things that I can go on about.
Hmm.
The problem is once you realize all these things, these different like stuff that on the far left and the far right, and even the people that are so nuts that they can't be considered either, are trying to push that we have to work harder at than our parents did to make sure that we're not putting this stuff in our kids. We're not putting
Hmm.
the message that the left is pushing, that we're not putting in all this stuff that the right is, because there are far right people that are just
Too much.
nuts.
Yeah.
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 And so before it was always just the left. The left is easier to see right now,
Right.
but it
Weirder.
is on both sides that they're both pushing something that you need to watch out for because they all want your kid to think the way they want. They want to
Mhm.
control your kids, they want to control you. And the best way to do that is to affect how you think, control what you eat, and put medication in you to be able to soften you up, make you weaker and more compliant.
Yeah.
Me personally, that's why I push my kids the way I do and I teach them the way I do and feed them the way I do is so that they don't get that in their systems and say, well, like was my son was talking about, he watched a show where they talked about there's a theory of man came from apes. I'm like, and I went through and I explained to him this is why there's that theory, but there's also no direct correlation. They just say because we're both primates. I'm like, why would you not relate my cat here to a saber-toothed tiger?
Right.
Because they're different species. They come from different origins. You can't say just because they're felines, they're all the same. My cat Boots is definitely not going to be running the Serengeti, chasing down an antelope like a cheetah does, you know. But that's the thing is, I think nowadays that's why podcasts like ours are becoming more and more popular is because we're helping people realize they're not alone on trying to fight these things being shoved into their
Yeah.
kids' lives. I
Yeah.
mean,
Small private media is getting more prominent.
yeah. So let's do this. We've ran it for a bit.
Mhm.
We've we've had, I think, a lot of good points. Tom, you look like you have something on your mind right now. So, like, I think I'll let you finish this out and then we'll just say our goodbyes and let the live stream come to an end. So, what do you think, Tom? I'll
I
let
kind
you
of
have the
always
final
have some.
thought.
No, I kind of always have something on my mind, don't
You do.
I? No, I don't know. Just thinking about the whole thing and kind of bringing it to a close in my mind, and it's a good analogy to pull from, honestly, and it goes deep. But yeah, I mean, I see it every day. Just the little like as a father, just the little signs of like the kind of the dirt getting in, and you can kind of just see. It's like almost like this weird experience of a father where you can like see the color of your kid's water. You know what I mean? Like on at any given moment, you know what I mean? You can see like the
Yeah.
little like ooh, that attitude is not. I didn't put that there. Where'd that come from? You know
Right.
what I mean? Or like or if I did put that there, what did I do to put that there? You know what I mean? Like how did I
Mm-hmm.
get that in there? And how can I counteract it? And you know, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just like it's just a constant process. It's just you have to remain ever vigilant. And it's tough because as fathers we want to come at it like it's a problem that needs to be fixed or it's like a dragon that needs to be slain. Um, and sometimes with children, that's why the mother is so important because there's that element of compassion as well that's vitally important in that process. And
Yeah.
uh, it's tough as a father, honestly. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Just anybody listening, if you're in that position, don't be discouraged. It's just part of the process. And you just, you know, keep doing what you're doing. As long as you're a
Mhm.
concerned father, it's a good sign that you're probably not a terrible father. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's do this. So, Tom, where do people find you if they have questions, if they want to talk with you, or even if they want to buy merch from you?
Yeah, so at EarnHerRespect on Twitter as always, and then the website marriage-material.com is mine too. There's gonna be a big overhaul coming there. Yeah, just a lot of stuff in the works these days. Kind of stepped away for a little bit to kind of organize some stuff in my personal life, and now I'm kind of back and have some opportunities to move forward. So hopefully you'll be seeing more from me.
Well, that's always good.
Cool. Awesome.
Mr. Pancakes, what about
Yeah,
you?
the usual pancakeswithyourdad.com. That's the good centralized location for that site. Uh, there's an X account, True Social, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can find me on all 5 of those locations. I am active. I talk all the time. I even make fun of plenty of people, and people make fun of me. It's always a good time. Um, then if you're interested, we have set up obviously the American Liberty Foundation, the 501c nonprofit. If you do ever have any concerns or issues that are money or whatever funds, if you donate and it doesn't go to the right place, just know we do everything to be as transparent as physically possible. One thing that I will never do is take government grants or money from the government in any way, shape, or form. I will bury it before I do that. So we primarily will be taking donations. All of the money will be through sales of t-shirts or sales of wonderful, lovely mugs and whatever else we got going on. Or donations from people or small businesses or locals or whatever we can do to raise funds that way. All the money, obviously, it's a nonprofit. So in the name, there is no profit. So I'm not making any money. It's solely out of the kindness of my heart because I do believe that we have a problem with our media and our education. And one of the main problems is that there's so much negative social media. I mean, I can't even scroll on Instagram for 2 seconds without seeing some wonderful large mammary glands and a nice rear end, just shaking nude. All of those things just portrays women negatively, gives men the opportunity to be negative, and that stuff is
Yeah.
bad. So one of the first rounds of funding that I intend to do is to get as much funding as I can. I want to generate as much content as possible. Obviously, I'm going to have to pay for it because I can't do it myself, and then use the money to pay for ads and just flood social media as much as I possibly can with positive, uplifting, traditional, you know, uh, American culture, just to try and reshift the moralization of America. But that's the goal. The American Liberty Foundation is the nonprofit. The website is american-liberty-foundation.org, or you can just go to the short one, is traditionalsociety.com. You can also find it on all the social media, True Social, X, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well.
Cool. And then Call with Dads, obviously, callwithdads.com. You can find Call with Dads using Call with Dads on any social media that we're on, X, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're even on TikTok, and then YouTube. One thing that I'm gonna be discussing as time progresses is hopefully closer to the end of this year, the beginning of next year, Gremlin Publishing, who is basically the owner of Call with Dads, owner of the books that I've written, we are going to be I have a series of books, kids books that I'm going to be putting out. And then we're going to be talking with Mr. Pancakes as well about putting his books out through Gremlin Publishing. And Tom, I believe, is working on another book himself, which we'll see how that goes, because if he decides to come with Gremlin Publishing, we'll promote that here as well, or he can promote it on himself when he does his. But we all are working on books. You can see that we all have a lot of projects going on. So we're not idle. We're always busy. And we're always trying to give something back to you that's going to be wholesome, be informative, and be good for you to be able to use in your real life. With that being said, we really do appreciate everybody being here. We're going to be ending this live stream. And if you want to see this again, you have to come back to the website. You can follow here, join the mailing list. I've just started going back to where I'm going to be only emailing when we have somebody scheduled, so you can be aware of upcoming live streams. I'm not going to be emailing daily or weekly or monthly newsletters. It's simply join the newsletter. You get information of what's coming up, if we have books, if we have anything coming, and when the live streams are. That's it. No spam, no crazy emails. I don't have the time for it. With that being said, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks.